Traders, Akil Stokes here. Today I want to take a little bit of a different path and break away from our normal Trading Coach podcast episodes and let you inside one of our accountability sessions. If you haven't heard one of these before, these are Friday sessions that we do with our traders, really talking about their journey, helping them with any problems they're having in trading, and really focusing on what they should be focused on for the months ahead if they want to get to their ultimate destination in trading. Now, in today's session, we had a special guest moderator, Charles Miles. Jason Greystone, who usually does them, was out on vacation, and Charles did a fantastic job talking with one of the newer traders to our platform named Mitch. We talked about struggling with backtesting, dealing with information overload, how he's been learning to trade for about 8 years and finally is locking on to the right path and what is needed to be successful. And we even talk about how information really filters its way through the brain in order that you can retain the most of it. So it's a very powerful session. Now, before we get into it, I must remind you guys, I have a brand new free Forex training workshop available on YouTube. It's called Bridging the Gap. Now, I'd love for you to be there live, but if you can't, don't worry. It is recorded. It will remain on YouTube for you to watch at a later time. All right, let's get involved in the episode. And as always, please take a second to rate and review this podcast on iTunes. And if you're listening on YouTube, just do me a favor, click that like button. All right, enjoy.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Mitch. I work in sales. I sell office furniture sort of to corporates. I've been doing that for around about 5 years. I work from home a fair bit. So I managed to get a bit of time to sort of do some research, and I thought that I would look into trading. It started off in sort of equities, and basically I just read a ton of books, got really interested, and then the realization came that I was completely undercapitalized for it, and the type of investing was going to be super long term, and it wasn't going to get me where I needed to be. So I ended up looking at other options and came across Forex. Now I appreciate it's not a get-rich-quick scheme, but you can certainly have a lot less capital, and you can be looking at really trying to sort of make a little bit more money in a shorter time frame compared to, holding on to stocks for the long term like Mr. Buffet or, whatever it might be. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit about me.
Oh, very good. Yeah, actually, I'm sure a lot of other people are the same. I got into Forex for that very reason because didn't need as much capital. I started in stocks too, so it was easier to just kind of get started. With the appreciation, of course, like you said, that it's not a get-rich-quick scheme, but you can certainly start with less, which was a lower barrier for entry, which can be good and could be bad. Obviously, it depends how you approach it. So that kind of got you into trading Forex. What kind of motivated you to want to do that? I know you said you work from home, so you got some free time. What's the big motivator for you as to why you wanted to get into trading, and why did you do it?
I suppose, I've always kind of felt quite entrepreneurial. I've got my own business on the side as well that I run alongside my other job. Yeah, really. So really, for me, I just kind of wanted to make a success out of myself. My mum was sort of mentally ill when I was going through school, and I didn't go all that much, and I didn't go to university, and I don't know. I just kind of felt like a lot of the things that I wanted to do were unavailable because I didn't go to university, and I didn't feel like I had I did fine in my grades and all the rest of it, but really, I kind of feel like I want to be successful, so that's like my main motivation. I want to be able to kind of look after myself and my family, and I just want to have independence and be sort of in control of my own destiny, so to speak. When it comes to my job, I can sell the product, but then it often get let down by warehouse and manufacturer and so on. So yeah, I'm just trying to sort of take a little bit of control back.
Yeah, no, very, very good. I know a lot of traders obviously get into that for freedom, the control. Really the control, I think. You can have all the nice things eventually, but the control of your time and what you want to do, the freedom, I think that's a big one for most people, and you said that, so that's really cool. As far as like the challenges that you've experienced thus far, how I guess if there is one or a few big challenges that you've had, maybe before tier one or now that you're here. I don't know how long you've been a member, but just any big challenges that you experienced along your journey.
Yeah, so I think I've been a member for about 3, maybe 4 months now.
Okay.
I mean, probably one of the challenges that, I mean, we just touched on it a moment ago, and that was sort of time. I think you have a ton of time and you can place an order and it will just kind of magically grow money. But certainly starting out, that's not the case. I mean, I've already invested 8 years into education and research, and I'm kind of really now just sort of figuring out that, you've really got to put in the grind. But once you've got something and you've got the fundamentals down, then I suppose at that point, then you can start sort of picking and choosing when you want to do it. But right now, it's really kind of, I don't know, sort of pedal to the metal and just trying to make sure that you've got all of your ducks in a row. You're really clear on strategy. I think some of the other challenges are, like you think it's really simple, but it's actually really hard in terms of, actually, you really have to understand yourself. I mean, I've really looked at my personality and kind of started to understand myself about my patience and sort of like my confidence level and how that's affected by sort of, winners, losers, and anything that sort of might be going on. And you don't realise sort of in a normal job where you can just almost leave it at home. Once you're done for the day, it's you're done, right? Whereas with this, I find myself just actively engaged with it all the time. I'm always thinking of, like 3-bar reversals, or right, okay, how can we understand momentum, or right, how can I learn that, or how can I come up with phonetics to learn all of the different patterns? And I find myself, I try and just take all of the information, all in one go. And where I've read so many books, I think I've got so much stuff whirring around in my head. So it's really just trying to focus on, start with the basics, keep it simple, and literally trying to make it as consistent as possible. Try and do something that you can follow, and you can do consistently. So I think that's probably been one of the largest challenges for me, along with backtesting. I'm really really struggling with backtesting at the moment.
Yeah, well, I mean, like what you said with and Gabby said it there, analysis paralysis, feeling overwhelmed, the fire hose kind of deal, where you've got so much information in your head, whether you're obviously here, so that's great. There's obviously a lot of information inside the platform for you, but it's the same. It can be the same thing even with a path to follow, as well as not having one and just reading books, like you said. And you've been on this track for 8 years, so there's a lot of information that you've got. And I mean, headless chicken, Gabby says, but yeah, it is kind of like that. You really need to hone in and find what your favorite your favorite thing is, as far as it comes to like the trading style. What kind of trader are you? What do you have time for is the most important thing to figure out first, right? Like what chart can I trade from? Is it the 4-hour chart? Can I check my charts every 4 hours? Yes. Okay, great. Then I can be a 4-hour trader, and then I'll have a higher time frame potentially to figure out where my areas are that I want to be interested in. Or if I have the ability to trade and look at the charts every hour, I can trade the 60-minute, and then I have a higher time frame from there, right? Those are just the things that we talk about in the platform. So I think, for you and anyone else, it's really starting off with time availability, like you said, having enough time to do the trading activity once you've got the method. And you have to decide what you have time for. So choosing your trading time frame is kind of the first thing that I would do. I don't know if these are advice sessions or not, but I'll do it anyway. So picking your trading time frame as well is important, so you know what you have time for. You're not trying to do something you can't do. Like if you don't have time to day trade actively, like on lower time frame charts, range bars, or lower minute charts, then obviously that's something that you shouldn't be doing, or even considering, or even looking at. Trying to develop. So I would say, figure out that, and then figure out what is your favorite style. Who is Mitch as a trader?
Yeah.
As a trader, you talked about that a little bit. And one of the things that I've thought about always a lot is, whoever you want to be in the future, you can't be the same person you are today, right? You need to be someone else, not inherently change your person, but right, there's skills and maybe personality traits that you have to overcome in terms of psychological the psychological aspect of your mind, like you said, being disciplined and dealing with that stuff also while you're trading, emotions and things like that. So the person that you are today, and this goes for everyone here, you cannot be that same person if you want to be doing something else that the current you is incapable of doing, right? You have to be able to do everything that the capable you, right, the one that can do all this stuff efficiently is. And obviously that's a journey and a process, but definitely figure out, time frame, of course, and then what kind of trading style do you like the most? Just pick that one, and then I would say just start there. Does that help a bit?
I think that's what I'm working on at the moment.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's a couple of other sort of things going on at the moment as well. And I recently took a short course to get funded for trading. Don't ask me why, because I kind of feel a little bit silly now. But I felt like I was in a really good place. I felt I had a really good kind of grasp on kind of what I wanted to do and where I wanted to be and how I could. So I just went a million miles an hour in my head.
Yeah.
These guys called me up, invited me in for a sort of an interview, and they were really impressed with my overall knowledge, which you can imagine from sort of reading books for 5 odd years. The amount of knowledge is sort of a bit overwhelming, and so I mean I could lay all that out, but at the same time, then we go in for 2 weeks, and I was being forced to trade a 15-minute chart on a demo, and that just completely freaked me out, and it was just loss after loss. I made all the mistakes that everyone should make, over trading, revenge trading, not understanding the strategy, haven't tested it, no confidence.
Right. And that's all the opposite of what we teach, right?
Exactly. I mean, well, that was one of the other things as well that I was going to mention earlier in terms of the challenges. Like, it's actually trying to find someone that you felt, or find like an education platform that you felt comfortable with, that wasn't trying to take you for a ride. So there was just there's so many people out there just trying to take your money. And I think after watching Akil and Jason on YouTube, and then sort of coming in for a 14-day trial, I just felt they're pretty genuine. So that was kind of, so for me, like every single time that I saw something come up, I was just so skeptical. And then for some reason, like I just felt really positive about how things were going after being on this course for a couple of months.
Right.
These guys called me up, went in for a chat. Next thing I know, they're going to give me a live account, and I'm just saying, look, I don't want it. I just really don't want it. I'm not ready.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I mean, think about where you're at. You're and the mistakes that happened, right? So clearly not ready. Plus, once you find something that works and that is, what do I mean by works? So not the trading strategy. Once you find someone, some company, some whatever, in this case, you're at tier 1, right? So I would say, man, just focus on what's here, because I've done this. I've been inside of education in the past, and then you see something else, and it's not even a trading shiny object syndrome, where, new strategy. It actually becomes like, a different person's perspective, another person's perspective on this thing, and it can lend to the strategy and the way that you might do trading, but it actually you kind of just do the same thing, and you actually lose sight of the thing that you finally resonated with, because you saw something else, just because maybe you're struggling with the current with your current activity, right? You're trying to get through the training, you're trying to do the practice, you're trying to get in the charts. It's daunting, it's difficult. There's backtesting, blah blah blah. There's all this stuff that you still have to do, even though you found a place where you feel at home and feel like you want to learn from. That can be discouraging and cause you to think, I need to do something else because I'm a little frustrated, or I think I need something else. It really becomes. So I don't know how much you guys know about psychology and the brain, but there's the amygdala, right? There's the thing that everything I say right now is going through your amygdala. And that's like the dumb lizard, right? It's just right in the front. It takes everything that comes in, and then everything after that is being filtered up, hopefully, but not really. Usually the stuff's not going back up to your higher brain function, which is where you decide on whether things are good, things are bad, doing hard work, doing complex thought, processes. So when the amygdala gets tired or bored, it wants to go do something else, right? And And it can happen even when you've got the course, you've got the training, you've got the platform, you've got the membership and the support, yet it got bored, it got discouraged, it got tired of trying. It's very lazy. So as traders, what we have to do is overcome that guy. Really, if you really want to just continue to see the transformation that you want, you got to overcome what that front stupid lizard brain is doing. It's really important. You did talk about like how tier 1 was different, and you kind of were doing different stuff, and you saw us. If there one reason, or if there is one particular reason why you felt that, obviously you took the trial and got to see what was inside, but if you could talk to maybe a video you saw or something that Greystone or Akil said, and then once you got in the platform that you saw was super different than the other things that you've seen, if you could just speak to that briefly.
I think the main thing would probably be the fact that it seemed genuine, honest, and I think there was a couple of times where they posted up, where there was losers. But for me, really, like what really attracted me was the style of trading. I don't know. Obviously, I can't. Like, my goal is obviously to have more time freedom. So for me, it's kind of trading off of the daily, the 4 hour. I think the more I'm kind of going through it and demo trading, I think I'm probably going to lean towards now more the hourly, just because of the discovery I've made about my personality. I'll probably say I'm a little bit impatient. So, and I just genuinely enjoy sitting in front of the charts. So if I can sit there all day and just do that, then that's great, which is sort of one of the things. But ultimately, I mean, in terms of what I was looking at, I love the use of Fibonacci's, I love the use of structure, just the way the charts look really clean, the advanced patterns. That's another thing that I quite like, the idea of, sort of being, one step ahead. I don't want to say one step ahead of the market, because we never know what the market's going to do. But in terms of being able to sort of look at an advanced pattern and, sort of already have an idea of what you're expecting, and if it does happen, then, the order can go in and then you're already good, right? So yeah. I think another one of my sort of personality traits would probably be, sort of jumping the gun a little bit. But I mean, ultimately, it came from just emailing Akil a few times. I kind of explained the situation. I said what I wanted to do, and he was just completely honest. He said, look, you can bring your own strategy. We'll teach you a strategy. We're not going to give you a strategy. We'll give you some ideas and give you some feedback, but ultimately, we just want you to know exactly what you're doing, and then how you're going to go about doing it. And then as soon as you're ready, then, great. That's it. So it was exactly what I expected. It was really honest. I just didn't feel like I was going to get taken for a ride.
Right.
So
good. Awesome. Yeah. And the biggest difference between, at least for me, in my experience of deciding maybe if someone's a scam or not, is, I don't want to say it. So the easiest way to take someone's money, if you're a online training company or marketers or whatever, is to tell you how easy everything is. Remember the lizard brain, right? It's so easy. Oh, that's what I want to hear. Ding, ding, right there. That's what the amygdala wants. That's what the first part of your brain, which takes all of the sound that someone speaks or says to you in, and it wants easy. It doesn't want hard, right? So, and a lot of times, like what you said, Akil says, hey, it's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. It's going to take hard work. I'm sure he said all of that to you. And that's what we're always saying. And that's because it's true, right? You can't, like we said before, we cannot be the same person we are today if you want to be someone different in the future. And learning to trade is a skill just like anything else that you might learn or go to school for or whatever. So, yeah, that's really cool, man. It's really awesome to hear that defining piece. And at least from what I've heard, it's very typical. Like, oh, well, you guys didn't say it would be so easy. You said it actually take hard work. Huh. Right? Like, maybe they don't actually just want my money. They want you telling me it's hard. If they wanted my money, they tell me how easy it is, right? So, very, very cool. Very cool. So I guess let's kind of move on, Mitch, to like where are you now? You kind of talked a little bit about where are you now, but what are you really trying to work on? I know I gave a little feedback to you as far as like time frame and choosing your favorite thing. You talked about pattern trading being one step ahead of the market. What's your, I guess, immediate short-term goals or things that you want to work on right now. Maybe you've changed your mind since coming into the session, even that we've been talking. So if you've got it, go for it. What's your plan, do you think, in the short term?
So, I mean, really for me, it's about getting a strategy that I can just execute consistently that's been tested. So I'm really just running through testing. I want to keep it super simple. And the goal for me is basically to sort of work towards becoming a full-time trader. So I mentioned there's a prop firm that have got live capital waiting for me. They're pretty hot on their risk management, so it would be pretty hard to kind of hit the drawdown level. And I think really all of that is just going to kind of help me with my sort of structure. I'm because where I work from home a lot, I don't really have to do anything. So for me, it's kind of just making sure that I stay focused on my goals.
Yep.
So it's literally just spending some chart time, getting something which I know is going to be, it's got a decent enough sort of risk to reward profile and, an end goal. And then once I've got that, then basically I can kind of just crack on. Yeah, really, it's literally just kind of like very much the basics, focus on getting a strategy, forward test it, back test it over the next month, and then that'll be that. And then just from there, just keep working on incorporating more strategies that have been fully tested. So I suppose it's kind of like the walking stage.
You're trying to figure out what you want to trade and what you want to do. And then once you've got it, and maybe even back testing a few different things, a couple different methods that you like. And then the numbers can also influence, how which one you choose, right? So what's the drawdown on this one versus another one? And, maybe this is a different time frame or, whatever. But yeah, I would say focus on that. Like you said, staying focused, for me too, obviously I work from home too. Focus is a huge thing when you have a lot of freedom. When you go to school and you go to all these places where people are telling you what to do, you want the freedom, right? When you're there, but at least people are there telling you what to do and keeping after you. When you're on your own, you've got the freedom now, in your case, and it's like, okay, I've got the freedom. I still have to control myself, right? I still have to focus. I still have to pay attention to what I'm doing. I still have to, write down my high-level goals, which sounds like for you is get a profitable strategy and reapproach the prop firm or a different one or whatever you've got. But so what are the little things then underneath that you need to accomplish? I would say kind of like a to-do list, but more of a goals to-do list. What is it I need to accomplish in order to get there? Whatever your high-level goals are in terms of this, getting funded or proving yourself to the prop firm that you deserve the capital. So what do I need before that? Oh, well, I need a trading strategy that's profitable, right? If they've got risk requirements, I have to consider that when it comes to, risk per trade, depending on how they want it. At the very minimum, though, you need the profitable strategy, and you can work around, whatever requirements that they might have. Yeah. But yeah, so I hope that's helpful. Just focus on that. Just focus on what are the things I need to do to get to my end goal.
Yeah, so what you've mentioned is almost like the opposite of kind of the goal in the first place, because it was, certainly now as a realization, I want to be in control and I want to sort of have my own time freedom. But what I'm really asking for, I suppose, from this prop firm is, right, make me put the report in, make me stick to risk management, make me follow my strategy. So it's, like you were saying at school type thing, I almost sort of feel like being a bit of a loose cannon. I feel like I need someone just to sort of have that rigid rules around me. And I think sort of like now I understand that's going to help, in terms of sort of moving forward.
Yeah, and that can certainly be a benefit. Obviously, no matter what, you need the profitable strategy. You need to be able to be trading let's say easily, but consistently. Gabby says, worry about the rest later. I would kind of agree with that. Just get, one step at a time. Like, okay, that's what I think I want to do right now. Well, what do I need before that? Well, whether you want to trade your own money, someone else's, or whatever, you still need that profitable strategy, the plan, and be able to execute consistently. So focusing on getting to that, like Gabby said, CPT, consistently profitable trader status first, is going to be a requirement no matter what you do. So I would just, focus on achieving that. And then your ability to get funded or capital from someone else, or there's all kinds of ways to do it. There's all kinds of avenues that you can go. That's the easy part once you've got a track record to show, or you've got a way to go prove a track record with someone. But you need to be able to trade first, right? And be able to be consistent. So I would kind of agree with that. Just focus on that part first. The rest can fall into place later, because you're going to need that whether you trade your own money or someone else's, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. So just a couple of things to wrap up our half, I guess. Since we only got 2 people today, we've gone a bit longer, in about a half hour, 20 so minutes each, I guess is what we'll do. So if you have any advice, I know you've been here for about 3 months, I think you said. So what would you say for anyone new who's starting out, who may just become a member? What would be your advice for them after your experience, so far? Obviously, what you've done maybe incorrect, or things to watch out for. Any kind of advice that you'd give for someone starting out inside Tier 1 as a member? What they should do first. Maybe if it's different from what you did, and you thought, oh man, I should have done I should have done this instead, or any advice that you can give.
So first one would be really kind of go through the courses one by one, or make sure you understand how you learn. Myself personally, I like to go through a batch of content and then come back to it and repeat it. And then following that, take a ton of notes, get involved with the live rooms. It's going to put you in a position where you don't really kind of know what's going on at first. It all seems pretty fast paced, but then as you kind of get used to it and you watch more of the videos and you start to bring it in, then obviously you almost try and sort of follow along. And then at the same time, then after that, that always kind of gets me a bit pumped up. So I end up going off, and then and then I'm kind of feeling good about strategies, and I go out and I'll try and find patterns in the charts and whatnot. I think the only other thing would be don't do what I did, which is kind of get yourself super pumped up and then have someone tell you that they can give you some money if you can answer 10 questions, and then basically put yourself under a load of stress because you're thinking, they're going to give me the opportunity to make a ton of money when you can do that yourself. So just sort of focus on being patient, really.
Very good. Awesome. Yeah, and I would definitely agree. I'm the kind of person that likes to go through a lot of content and then come back to. It kind of gives me an idea, like, okay, so where am I headed? If I do all that, once I learn all this stuff, where am I going? What's the path? What's the track? We've got the 90-day planner now. I don't know if some of you have seen that or not. So that should be obviously a huge help to kind of get that path and see where you're going without necessarily having to watch everything unless you want to, and then go back over it. But yeah, buying a course or information or reading a book is just that. It's only one step, right? There's it's the application of it that's the most important. So I know a lot of people, myself included, I bought stuff and said, "Ha, I've made it." All I did was buy something, right? I didn't do anything yet, but you kind of get that feeling like, I've got this now, and now I need to, like you said, you went to that firm, they caught you on an ad or whatever, and now you're over there, and now you're feeling pressure, and it's just the same thing when you try to trade live, and you don't have a plan, and there's all this pressure to trade well, but you don't have the plan to do it, right? So it's kind of the same thing. So I would say is basically what you said is there, to condense it down, is don't put extra pressure on yourself in your learning phase, right? You need to have kind of just very laid back on the pressure side, other than, stay diligent, but don't put added pressure on yourself for the trading performance or to be a trader, or just focus on the learning, focus on being the best at, all these different things, or once you find the path you want to take in terms of strategy, being the best at that, right? And focus on it hard. That way you kind of, you get the result you're actually looking for. So I know
another one thing I'd like to add, if I may, would be like, to me, where I've got so many books and so on, like if you're paying for some education and you've got people to experience, then just put all of your focus into that. There's like, try not to, sort of still be trying to steal strategies from here and there and all the rest of it. Literally take what the people who you're paying money to are giving you and just focus on that.
Yep, absolutely. Very good. Awesome, Mitch. So I know kind of usually asked to, encourage you to come back in a month or two's time or so, or a month and a half, to kind of give us an update on where you're at. So for the end of your kind of spot here, I'd just like to, as Gabby said, what do you want to be accountable for next session, I guess, and hopefully you just write it down so maybe you can bring it up with Jason when he's back, or whoever is doing the session on that particular time. So like, hey, we have a question for returning members who, during their second, third, or however many, what was your last session about? What did you want to focus on? So I would say for you, Mitch, what is it that you want to, you kind of already talked about it, but just to wrap up the end, what would you focus on for accountability purposes, for your next one?
Yeah, I think it's got to be having a solid strategy, back tested and forward tested for the next month. And then at that point, I'd be hoping to sort of go back to these prop firm guys and just say, yeah, cool, you can give me the live money now, and then continue improving. So yeah, so in a month, I'd want to have a clear strategy defined and tested over 5 pairs.
Okay.
To be specific.
Okay, and you've got extra time, so that's good. I think you could do it. Obviously, if you don't make it, don't feel bad, right? You've got time. I mean, you're the same age as me, so we've got time. But I know, for me, I'm impatient. I want everything yesterday. So I know that you said you're a bit impatient as well. So I would say, give yourself the ability to, if it takes longer, it takes longer. Just stay diligent with it. Just stay focused on one step at a time. Okay, what is it I need to do next to get to the end goal of consistently profitable? As far as taking the money from the prop firm, I mean, I don't know what it says. It's up everyone's choice. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but what I would say is, have you traded live before? I assume in the past.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the main thing for me is like, if I go in there and I lose someone else's money, like the main thing I'll be taking from it would be like 100% learn from the mistakes, because I don't have, like, my live account at the moment isn't really life changing. It's kind of one of those things where like I could afford to lose it, and
Sure.
I don't think that kind of really puts enough pressure on myself really kind of builds on it. So I mean, they're going to give me some money that I've kind of paid for, like in a training session. They give it to you as part of that. If I hit the drawdown, then I've already kind of like I'm already kind of resolved for that effect. So like for me, it's more going to be about, I've already kind of paid the money for it. They're going to give me a live account. So
okay, yeah. I mean, if you've already done it, then obviously that's where you're going. So
yeah, I can't sort of go back on it now. So it's just going to be about making sure that I get the most value out of it possible, and that's just going to have to be learning from mistakes and sort of really kind of trying to put myself into a rigid routine, follow the rules. Yep. We never know. It might turn out absolutely great. I mean, it could be an absolute disaster, but there's only one way to find out now.
There is, and the best thing that you can do is prepare and do everything that you're learning. And get your, 1 or 2 signals that you love, and that's what you tested. And it's simple, it's streamlined. There's just a few things that you have to keep track of. Listen, the more strategies or things that you add to your trading, the harder it is to be consistent, because you might have multiple different rule sets. The easiest thing to increase opportunity is not more strategies; it's a bigger portfolio, right? That's the easiest way to increase your opportunity, rather than trading more strategies, because more strategies is more rules. It's more things to remember, more things to look at. This might be different than that thing. It's just more to do. The less that you actually have to worry about when you're trading, the better. So the more streamlined, the more simple that you can keep it, and increasing opportunity through the increasing size of a portfolio. And I would say for you, for all newer beginning traders that are approaching to trade live, once they've got their strategy, pick one thing that you love, the most favorite thing that you love. Find one signal, maybe 2, and that's it. And you just trade it on, if you're trading swing trading, you could trade 10 pairs or 15 pairs, whatever, whatever you feel comfortable with, and thereby increasing your opportunity, but keeping it simple. Okay?
Excellent.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Mitch. Appreciate you coming on here and pouring your soul out to the group. I'm sure everyone here has appreciated it. I know I have. I know it can be a little bit, nerve-wracking and whatnot, but, you've been able to talk about where you've been, where you're going, what your current goals are. You've got the group here to keep you accountable. Of course, you've got the, everyone to talk to and keep you on track as well whenever you're struggling. So obviously we're all here to help. So just feel free to reach out while you're on your path to, backtesting a couple strategies that you love and staying focused. And we'll catch you back, I guess, maybe a month or two. Does it sound good?
Yeah, excellent. Yeah,
awesome.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. You're welcome, Mitch.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. All right.
Cheers, man.
Take care.